Throughout human history, there has been a recurring misunderstanding. People believe that the money of their kingdom is safe. Every government says that the system it has built is expanding in a stable way. And almost every time that trust is betrayed. It happened in Rome, it happened in France, during the American Civil War, in the Confederacy, and very recently in Lebanon. People woke up one morning to find that the money in their bank accounts no longer meant anything. Salaries still existed, but life could not be purchased. The future they thought was secure had slipped out of their hands. The issue is not the absence of distribution of resources. Collapses are not rare. They are almost inevitable. The real question is where you stand when that moment arrives. Most of us perceive money as something tangible. We look at our bank accounts and trust our national currency. But money is not concrete. It is not a wall. Money is nothing more than an idea. Money is trust. And trust is far more fragile than we think. History is endlessly ruthless on this matter, but at the same time deeply instructive. Because its overall sum leaves behind the same questions when we look back. What was truly valuable? In critical moments, those who survive crises are usually not the ones who trust systems the most, nor are they the most optimistic. They are the first to doubt and the ones who take protective measures. The Byzantine Empire is a good example of this. For centuries, the gold solidus was believed to be one of the most reliable currencies in the medieval world. Merchants accepted this coin without question. It was almost a global currency. However, those who maintained it could not resist. They continued to tamper with the safety of the currency. First, small changes were made. They thought no one would notice. At first it went unnoticed, but once trust cracked, there was no turning back. The solidus was gold, but it was no longer reliable. And from that point on, the balance of the Byzantine economy was disrupted. Those who preserved their wealth were not the ones who remained loyal to the empire's currency. They were the ones who held land and real assets. This reminds us of an uncomfortable but very old truth. Governments cannot resist the temptation to debase their currency, and when they do, real value escapes elsewhere. But it does not always begin with money. Sometimes life itself turns the system upside down. When the Black Death struck Europe in the 14th century, the population was almost wiped out. Cities were emptied, villages were abandoned, trade collapsed. But something interesting happened. For the survivors, the world changed completely. People were scarce, land was abundant. Anyone who could work became valuable. Wages rose. Land that was once unreachable became worthless, erased. This picture is not unfamiliar to us. During COVID, something similar happened. Supply chains broke down. Governments printed money. Those who had capital accumulated assets. Those who did not were left behind. Crises are not fair, but they are always a redistribution. The collapse of the great banks in Florence shows the same truth. Europe's most powerful banks collapsed the moment kings stopped repaying their debts. People's savings disappeared. Institutions described as too big to fail vanished overnight. This story repeated itself in 2008. It repeated itself in Lebanon. And each time the result was the same. Banks saved themselves. People paid the price. The money in the bank is often not as much ours as we think. In reality, that money is a loan to the bank, and in times of crisis, it may not be returned. In the American Civil War, the French Revolution, and the Asian crises, currencies collapsed, values fell, and paper dissolved. What remained standing was always the same: land, food, gold, and production. But perhaps the most important lesson was this: wealth is not just what you own. It is what you can do. Throughout history, those who survived crises were not only the ones who stored gold. They were the ones who could bake bread, repair things, produce, trade. Because money can lose its meaning, but needs never do. Everything is a transfer. From those who trust to those who prepare, from paper to the tangible, from passive savers to active producers. Collapses are permanent, but they are also unique. For the unprepared, they are destruction. For the prepared, a new beginning. Everything falls apart. This is not new. The real question is this: what are you holding on to? Promises or something that is truly valuable? History does not repeat itself exactly, but if you ignore it, the outcomes are never different.